matchups that he wins as a 3-mage player. 3-mage is not strong outside of gods for a reason. Its magic damage reduction is lower than it used to be. People play 6 mages because it had a buff rather than a nerf. And yeah, I think Land is in a rough spot right now. He doesn't even have a 2-star pirate captain to kick things off. Remember, if Lucky can indeed get herself first, that is potentially qualifying for her. That is potentially qualifying, and she's going up against Land here. She shouldn't have too much issue going up against him with the caliber of comp that she's got right now. Although I say that, it's a little bit closer than you would have thought.
Looking fine, but Land is actually going to go out here at 5th, leaving the door wide open for Lucky to clutch this one out. She does still have quite a bit of work to go between Psycho, Philip, and Kong still in the match. Philip with his Knights taking those away from Lucky. However, Lucky's got a 3-star Lightblade Knight, 3-star Hell Knight, if I'm not mistaken. No, she doesn't have her 3-star Lightblade Knight, but she is putting in the Tsunami Stalker. Now she has the decision if she wants to actually switch in Marine eventually once she gets another Siren, or keep the Storm Shaman. I would say in this situation, I would probably put in the Marine instead because she doesn't have
the Shaman bonus
and Defector, correct.
Oh, there's a lot of damage going on to her comp right now from Seiko. Seiko still has to deal with that 3-star Tortola Elder, that 3-star Hell Knight, which is one of the main carries versus mage compositions.
The Hell Knight is not going down, but it is going to take a final Tortola Elder ultimate to the face, and Lucky's going to take 4 damage here. Loses that massive 9 win streak that she had going on, but is going to be enough to take the #1 spot over here. Now, all players at level 10 with the exception of Philip. However, he, again, is that other Night Glacier player.
So Kong and Seiko have guaranteed qualification here, so it doesn't matter where they place.
And Philip is
out anyway, so Philip is pretty much out 100%. If Lucky gets first, she gets qualification. She beats Land and she gets qualification.
And look at what she's done. She's actually made a 2nd Storm Shaman, sold the Desperate Doctor that had it, the refresh.
Yeah.
And I think that is an extremely smart move of her
it absolutely is
to make right now.
And she's at level 10, and she looks so good to potentially get first place
5,000 damage between those 2 Storm Shaman ultimates. She is showing that she's got what it takes.
If she gets second, she tie breaks with Land. If she's first, she wins and goes through. And I have seen the Open 4 Glacier Knight qualify 2 rounds now, which has been insane. Even when her Open 4 got sabotaged in 2 games, she's brought herself into a position where she is tenably taking a top 3 spot away. This is quite the story for Lucky, who has played the same strategy now for 7 games in a row.
Yeah, it's pretty insane, and there's so many different things that have happened, and she's just played around it. That's it. We do see that Philip went against Lucky last round there, but lost by 8. That just shows you how strong that Storm Shaman ultimate was.
See if anything gets picked up here. Seiko's actually got Mjolnir here because he's got the Wraith Shard, but it's Mjolnir on the Dragon Knight and a Dragon Knight composition. Dragon Mage composition. I wouldn't say it's the strongest thing in the world. He has now picked up God of Thunder, which may give him some potential outs versus the competition right now. We'll have to see. He's also very close to, there he is, a 3-star Winter Carrot Terran, which is going to help him as a bit more of a frontline tank. It'll also give him a shorter cooldown on that ability to allow him to keep some of his units safer.
Yeah, he's also got an egg in the shop, which he can buy to potentially get that God of Thunder to 2-star as well. Hell Knight 3-star with a Heart of Tarask for Philip. He's also just barely hanging on, 7% HP. All players now fully rolled down to basically 0 gold, which is always exciting to see. Up against Seiko, though, of course, Lucky is looking to have Philip knocked out here as quick as possible. And
he's just about squeezing
hanging
through.
on. Yeah, he's going to be just fine. Kong, on the other hand, not fine up against Philip, is going to take about 6 damage there, putting him down to 8%. Lucky is looking at this and feeling very, very confident right now. Of course, her matchup against, I think, all players is really nice because she does counter the mages. She also counters the other knight player as well. So, I mean, is there anything that can happen where she doesn't win this? Is there
I think
possible
Phillips
upgrades?
in an okay spot. I think God of Thunder can sometimes sneak through God of Thunder 2 now for Kong. They can sometimes sneak through the Night Shields if you get it positioned quite like. I have no idea where you've decided to put your God of Thunder out by himself, but it is what it is. I'm interested in Lucky versus the Philip matchup because I think that's the one that we're going to be looking at for the rest of this game.
Yeah, this might be it though for Philip, as long as that Hell Knight goes down, but it just doesn't die. Switching over to Kong here, he's just fine against Lucky. Lucky beating Philip with almost no problems.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, seven units left on the board still.
Well, that's a 3-star Desperate Doctor for Philip here. He's picked up another 3-star that might help him out. There is a level advantage for Lucky, remember, but Philip does indeed have the Shaman bonus activated because he's running the Defector over the Berserker right now. This is a really tight lobby. I think everybody has a chance of winning right now. And a 2-star... is that a refresh orb on Philip's Storm Shaman too?
Yeah, wow, absolutely. So, honestly, Philip putting himself in a position right here where he's got a lot of room, and we see that happening right now.
Oh, that was insane. Philip going up against the... He might be okay here. It's going to be very close with this Lightblade Knight, the Frantic Masks. I think he's going to be fine. He should be able to take out that God of War that does not have the God bonus, so it will attack very slowly.
Yeah, excellent call on that for 3-star as well.
This is a crazy end of the match.
All 4 players winning their matches for the past 2 rounds at least.
It's super RNG right now because it's basically Night Shield RNG versus where the Thunders hit versus a lot of different things, to be honest with you. This is basically going to come down to individual matchup RNG, and the more HP you have, the more chances you have to get it wrong, and that's why Seiko and Lucky are in good spots.
Yeah, there's not much that Philip can really roll for here, so he's probably just scouting out the opponent's positioning and trying to match that up as best as he possibly can. Now, here he is up against Lucky, the #1 player in the lobby, and also the player that has a chance to go on. Very, very similar builds here. Lightblade Knight trying to shred through the backline to give himself enough HP to stay in this game, and it looks like he's actually going to be just fine here, keeping that HP 7%.
Lucky took a big hit. Lucky took a big hit versus Kong in the last round. That's what I mean about God of Thunder. Sometimes it can just wipe out everything, and that can be difficult to deal with. Seiko's in a good spot. Kong's still in a continued win streak right now. This is so tense. I cannot believe we are in this situation where any one of these players could genuinely take first, and it really comes down to those individual matchups after we get through this Glacier.
Yeah,
the Glacier items are going to be insane too.
Not only can any player take first, but depending on who takes first means
massive
potentially $450,000
yeah,
for somebody, right? So there's a ton riding on these last.
Yeah.
Match results first, and then we're going to move into our final standings. Of course, and something as we look at these detailed match results, he makes it less nerve-wracking for himself, right? And I felt like he was pretty strong during that game. And I wanted to ask you guys, like you mentioned, he went 3 May. Pretty strong during that game, and I wanted to ask you guys, like you mentioned, he went 3 mage.
Yeah.
Like what did he kind of what kind of went wrong for Land there? Because it certainly was a lot maybe for Land.
He went wrong because he went 3 mage.
Fair enough.
It is in this meta. 3 mages is I don't want to say it, but garbage. It actually is garbage. It needs a buff.
Yeah.
if you're listening, Drodo, it needs a buff because his challenge just isn't there. You just don't have enough damage coming out with 3 mage comp.
I think his thought process behind it, he did get a 2-star Venom, but here just looking at the leaders now, Lucky by 1 point. Looking at the leaders now, Lucky by 1 point. As you.
It would have been a tie. But I don't know how the tiebreaker would have gone.
I have no idea how the tiebreaker would have
Okay,
gone.
I'm hearing that she would have lost the tiebreaker.
She would have
so
lost the tiebreaker.
she needed to win.
She needed to win.
But she had lost the tiebreaker.
She would
So
have lost the
she needed
tiebreaker.
to win.
She needed to win.
But she sure that win. Or was her downfall the fact that Psycho, I think it was going the same strategy. Psycho, I think it was going the same strategy.
I think if the match got put up against Psycho, won that match, came down to 1 versus 1, her versus Philip, protected that Siren. She absolutely had a chance to win.
She absolutely had a chance to win. I think also, as I think her strategy obviously carried. She absolutely had a chance to win. I think also, as I think her strategy obviously carried her very far, but I think it is also a testament to players that are adaptable and can take what the game throws at them. I think I really respect her for 7 games making that work because I couldn't have done the same thing. I definitely would have tilted myself into oblivion by this point. But I think the players that have made it top of our tournament here have all been incredibly adaptable. If Lucky can get 1 point away from the final lobby for Fort, you guys can open Fort Glacier Night every single game and get to Queen. It's really
for now.
Until they get nerfed, which they will.
But yeah, like you said, it's hats off to the 8 players now that we officially know are moving on to tomorrow's matchups, and that's going to be at Shanghai time. So definitely don't want to miss that. But
yeah, best of 6 tomorrow as well. So a little bit that'll be very interesting to get into tomorrow as well. So a little bit that'll be very interesting to get into. But let's reflect on the day, guys, because particularly in that last group, I feel like we had at least a player or two who really just shined, maybe above the rest. And Psycho, right? Psycho had the most points overall, 26, fourth, first, second. Super solid in a semifinal lobby. Like that's got like for him, that's got super solid in a semifinal lobby. Like that's got like for him, that's got to feel great going into the finals.
I actually have of Nudge. Yeah, I have my
It'd be absolutely insane and a great story behind him as well. Such a nice guy, and if it went to anybody, I mean, he deserves it for sure. to get here. He's sacrificed a lot to get here as well. But that's not to say that the other 7 players in the lobby don't also have their own deserving right to it as well. So honestly, at this point, it's going to be such a fun day and exciting day tomorrow to see how everything starts shaking out. And I can't wait to see it just hopefully come down to the wire like this one again.
Yeah, I mean, when we have such a great diversity of players involved from all different regions. Just a great melting pot of players that will be making their way into the finals tomorrow. We started with thousands competing from around the world. We came into this weekend with 32, and today we narrowed it down to 16 as we recap the day a little bit. Any other things you guys want to say here? Reflections from the day, and obviously expectations going into tomorrow.
I think we've got some of the top 8 players in the world in our grand final. I think we're going to have some really close games over 6 games. I think we're also going to see a much more adaptability in terms of the players that are being brought here. I think it's going to be an amazing series. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, best of 6 is drawing things out a little bit more, so they do have to play a lot more consistently over those 6 games. However, like we said, with such a huge difference between first place prize to 8th place prize, over $432,000 is the difference between 1st and 5th. You're going to see people going for that money, being a little bit more aggressive or playing a little bit more greedy because they want that first spot.
Yeah, well, it all comes down to tomorrow. 8 players left, $1 million prize pool, $450,000 for first place, and it's all live from Shanghai, China. Make sure you tune in with us tomorrow as we come to a conclusion from the 2019 Auto Chess Invitational, and we crown our champion.